Hello and welcome back to Spend Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and it's time again for Saturday morning Black Stuff. Welcome, everybody. Let me take care of some business first, and we'll get into the news. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, you're going to see a video pop up here. If you like what you see there, hit the subscribe button down there. If you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, you get the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com where you see my schedule and also all the links to my social media. So I've got Twitter, Instagram, and Patreon. No tiers on the Patreon as of yet. And also links to my YouTube page, of course, here that I've got. And Facebook, my Facebook page, where my schedule is also mirrored on there. And also the Facebook group page where you guys can post stuff on and talk amongst yourselves. All right. Let's see what we got here going on. Let's just start with the big thing. Why not? I know some people are going to trickle in, but hey, I'm half an hour late as it is. So, there we go. Um, Movie theaters here in the US are talking about opening up again on July, you know, for AMC, July 15th, for Regal Theaters, July 10th. Those are the two biggest chains in the United States. And there's been a little bit of controversy going on. I don't know why it's controversy, why it has become, a political talking point, quite honestly. But the use of masks, face coverings, if you will, to prevent the spread of COVID-19. There's a lot of people that don't want to wear them for whatever reason. It's because it's restricted by freedom. Fuck you. It's not restricting your freedom. It's a public health ordinance. Same thing as no shirt, no shoes, no service. So if you have a problem with that, stay the fuck home. Plain and simple. Hey, Stanley. Hey, Philip. Yeah. That's about as political as I'm going to get on that one right there, because there shouldn't be any politics involved in this whatsoever. Um, it's to stop the spread of a virus, or slow down, I should say, the spread of a virus, and keep people from getting infected by your dumbass who's going out to rallies, parties, bars, and things like that, and standing shoulder to shoulder with people that are already infected and then passing that on to other people. That's why we have a spike going, or spikes, I should say, all over the US right now. It hasn't abated since this stuff started. It's only been going higher and higher. So yeah. Um, yeah. So how do I feel about theaters being reopened? I think it's a bad idea. I understand the reason for it economically is because you have these gigantic pieces of property where you need to pay, money on them, and you're not getting any money coming in. Also, you've got theaters that, or I should say, movie studios that have movies that they want to release because they want to make money off of these things, and they're not able to do that either, even though they can release them digitally and have been shown to make money off of them by releasing them digitally or streaming or whatever, and making money that way, because we all know that actually is a viable option. It's just the theaters don't want this to happen because it's, of course, they think it's their death knell, which it is for the most part, because theaters are just grotesque now to go into. And when you have people that are fucking taking pictures of a screen with their cell phone and a flash during a movie theater, and there's nobody that's going to do anything about it, why bother going? Why would I want to pay $15-20 to go and see a movie where I'm going to have to deal with that bullshit, where I can just pay the $20 at home and watch it on my big screen TV in my surround sound in my underwear or less? Yeah. Yeah, it could kill theaters. I don't care, quite honestly, Stanley. The Yes, there is something to be said about the theater experience of getting together with people and watching movies with a bunch of people around you and feeding off that energy. Um, Quite honestly, it's been few and far in between for me now. And yeah, just not a big fan of it at, right now, especially like I said, with a pandemic going on, and just release the shit digitally or stream it, whatever. You don't need to actually be in a theater with masks on and social distance. I don't even want to be there when that's happening, quite honestly. So, and you can send all your hate mail my way. I don't care. I'll just delete it anyway, like I normally do. So, on to other news. So, Drew Goddard is in talks to write the script for an adaptation of Andy Weir's novel Hail Mary that's going to be directed by Lord and Miller, and it's going to be starring Ryan Gosling. That's a lot right there. Yes. Drew Goddard, great writer, obviously. He also wrote the screenplay to The Martian, which is also another one of Andy Weir's novels that got turned into a movie. So Hail Mary is supposed to be about an astronaut who wakes up um, in a capsule with two dead crew members and no memory of what happened or who he is or who she is. I can't remember offhand. All the astronaut finds out is that they are on a mission that could that's the importance in saving the human race. That's what's going on. Yeah, needs to complete the mission. Sounds interesting. It's a book that I believe is coming out and hasn't come out yet, and it's already been optioned for a movie. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly, Philip. So yeah, going back to the movie theaters, drive-ins are the option. Yes, I'm glad to see drive-ins are coming back, but at the same time, I'm not going to drive-ins either because, quite honestly, I'd rather watch this shit at home. Yeah. And Stanley, I understand. Yes, if you work at a theater, you want to keep your job, but there's a breaking point right there. Public safety versus you know uh something where you can go and find another job in another industry. I hate to say it, but yeah, same thing. Like if you work at a newspaper, newspapers are dying. Find a job in another industry at that point. Hey, Keith Hamilton, how's it going? Yeah. So, but back to Hail Mary. Yes, that's gonna be interesting. Drew Goddard in talks for writing the script for a Lord and Miller movie based on Andy Weir's novel starring Ryan Gosling. I'm all for it. Ah, I see. Your company's business depends on a lot of trade shows. Yeah. Yeah. Stuff's going to change. Stanley, this is one of the things that change is inevitable in a long enough timeline, as they say. And unfortunately, businesses have to change along with it. Can't stay 1820 every year or 1920 or 2020, even for that matter. 2020 is a shitty year anyway. Also, excuse me, Scholastic Entertainment is going to be working on an Animorphs movie. That's right. So the Animorphs series of books uh, is going to be made into a movie. They already have a TV show, I believe, that was out there on Animorphs. But yes, they are doing a movie based on the Animorphs series. So there you go. I was past the age of I was older when those books came out, so those did not hit me. I know there's a group I want to say in the 90s, that group in the 90s that was more their style than mine. 90s, 2000s, somewhere around there. I know of them. It's just not my bag, so to speak. Yeah. But yeah, all I know is that it involves kids changing into animals or something like that. Yeah. Millennials? I believe it's millennials, Stanley. I wasn't putting any labels on anything. I just know that, it's of a certain age group that I'm not part of. But the age group I am part of, unfortunately has Frank Miller. So, Cursed, which is based on a comic from Frank Miller and Tom Wheeler, and it's about the Lady of the Lake in Excalibur. It's going to be a series on Netflix, and that comes out on July 17th. So the trailer was just released, and it was very there wasn't a lot to the trailer. There was a lot of slow motion. There was a lot of gray blue tones going on with it, and there was a lot of people that were holding swords and fighting. That's what I got out of it. And a voiceover of the woman saying, about the sword, and the person who wielded will, the once and future king thing and all that. So, yeah. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Nimue is her name, of the Lady of the Lake, and I know that her backstory is in mythology is very varied, I guess you could say, and there's a lot to it. So it'll be interesting to see what the take is on that. There's the old joke, of course, of sitting Frank Miller down in front of a typewriter and telling him to write a female character that he doesn't call a whore or a prostitute or something of that nature, because that is Frank Miller right there. And I don't know if he can do it, quite honestly, but we'll see. We'll see how this material comes out. I never read the book Cursed, so I couldn't tell you what it is. I stopped reading Frank Miller a long time ago, and there's a good reason for that. Yeah, he kind of went off the deep end. Right around 9/11 is where he went off the deep end. Frank Miller is Dr. Psycho, pretty much. Yeah, except instead of saying the word cunt, he says whore a lot, a lot. Did I just say the c word? Oh man, what else is going on here? Um, EA is going to be releasing a new game, Star Wars Squadron, on October 2nd of this year. Of course, you can fly X-wings, you can fly TIE fighters, all that kind of stuff. They did a gameplay 2 days ago. I didn't get a chance to take a look at it, and but I saw the trailer for it. Of course, the trailer really is not a good indication. You want to see more of the gameplay of what's going on, and yeah, I mean, it looked interesting. I'll see what it's like when it comes out. I don't know if I'm gonna pay for it when it first comes out. I'll probably wait a little bit until the price drops and then see it then. So, Philip A. Demick says, "I love Sin City. When did Frank Miller write that? That was back in the '80s." Philip, this is before Frank had his little fracture of mind, shall we say? This is when he was doing Daredevil. Um, is when he did Sin City and Hard Boiled, Sin City, Hard Boiled, all that kind of stuff. It was, yeah. Stanley says the trailer is too cinematic, hard to judge. Yeah, exactly the same thing I was saying, Stanley. Yes, the trailer looked very cool, but it was cinematic. And like I said, they did the gameplay on the 18th. I haven't gone back and taken a look at it yet, but yeah. Wow, took 20 years to make movies for Sin City. Yeah, well, it was late '80s, so like '88 into the '90s is where Sin City was a series of books. I mean, they're all over the place on that. But yeah, he was doing those from the late '80s into the '90s, and yeah, it wasn't until what was it, early 2000s that Sin City was made. So roughly about 15 years. That's normally the time frame on comics getting into film. So it doesn't happen automatically. It takes a little while. I mean, And also that, comic book movies were coming into vogue then as well, so that was the reason why they were looking for anything that they could use. And Dark Horse has always been dipping its toe into cinema and trying to get their stuff onto the screen. Not successfully most of the time, but they have been trying. Yeah, I liked the second 300 series as well. Um, yeah, 300 was actually it's not a bad movie. I know everyone goes, "Oh, the racism and all that." And again, it's Frank Miller. Yes, I understand, but also the point of view is a soldier telling his fellow soldiers about the enemy and embellishing it to make the enemy look bad. That's the reason why all the racism is in it. I get it. I understand why it's in there. And yes, he is basically saying how evil these people are and everything. And yeah, that's how it is. I'm still playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey right now. I've gone back to it again. And of course, you have the Spear of Leonidas from the Spartans going back to 300. And they have a flashback of Leonidas when he's dying, and Xerxes coming up to him. And it doesn't have any of the embellishment or anything like that. It actually shows Xerxes in the Persian armor and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's actually the way it's supposed to be. It's not the way they showed it in the movie 300 or in the book 300 either, for that matter. Excuse me. So part two is not good. Eva saved it for me. Yeah, so what you're saying, Stanley. You know what? It was the same for me, for 300. And the second one, yes, is a little bit lesser of a movie, but let's face it, Zack Snyder is not an Oscar worthy director or anything like that, or writer. Yes, I am wearing a Justice League shirt, but that was just because that's what I pull out of the closet, and not to promote the Snyder cut or anything like that, which also just had a teaser trailer come out this week, which I don't even know if I can call it a teaser trailer. It was a scene of Wonder Woman looking at the wall with an old painting of Darkseid on it, and Lex Luthor, Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, talking about how he's coming and whatnot. And I was just like, yeah, and this shows me nothing other than I just really don't care about a re-release of a movie that is 3 years old now. So yes, I understand they don't have content. They are trying to rebuild, bring something new when it's really not, to get people to subscribe to HBO Max. But yeah, I'm not really interested in it, to tell you the truth. But for those of you who are, go for it. So Dan Harmon is supposed to be, he made a deal with Fox to create a new animated series for them. Um, Considering that he's having problems as it is getting Rick and Morty out the door, I don't know if that's a good idea or not. Yeah. I would rather him work on one series and actually focus on it and try and get that shit out the door before trying to take it on with another. I don't even want to say competitor, because Fox works with Adult Swim quite a bit, and yeah, and hopefully it's not like Solar Opposites, where what Justin Roland did, which is essentially kind of a flip side version of Rick and Morty, only set on Earth. Stanley Tweedle says the only Zack Snyder movie I really liked was Watchmen. I'm sorry, we can never speak again. No, I'm kidding. Again, we all have different tastes. I like shitty movies too. Um, yeah. He has to do another 60 episodes of Rick and Morty. Yeah, he has, what is it? He's been approved for like season 10 or 11. I can't remember what it is. And they just finished up season 4, and it was a truncated season 4, which pissed off a lot of people that it was truncated, that it was only 8 episodes. And then he's going off to do another series for another network at the same time. I just don't see it happening, quite honestly. So, other animated news, Sci-Fi, yes, that Sci-Fi, has ordered 7 episodes of the animated series Devil May Care, which has Alan Tudyk voicing the devil, and the devil has hired a social media coordinator to rebrand hell as the place to live. So, yeah, Alan Tudyk right now is the hardest working man in show business. He really is. He is on everything for the most part. I'm trying to think of what he hasn't been in. I think that's just easier at this point because he's got Alien Resident that's coming up on Sci-Fi. He's was on Doom Patrol. That's behind me there. Uh, he is voicing. He's on Harley Quinn as multiple voices. Uh, he was on Santa Clarita Diet voicing Nathan Fillion's character for a while there. Um, I'm trying to think what else. It was like 7 different things that he's on. Yeah. But yes, Sci-Fi is doing an animated block of like they're trying to do like an Adult Swim kind of thing in the evening, and they're going to be shortened animated series, I guess it will. So this is 7 episodes of the devil trying to get people to live in hell, I guess, which can be interesting. And yes, like you said, Stanley, it's got Alan Tudyk. Sure, take my money. I'll go and watch it. Yeah. And I don't know if anyone saw this, but did anyone see the Train to Busan, which is a Korean movie about 2-3 years ago? It's a zombie movie set on board a train, really really good. And there's a sequel that's coming out, and it takes place like 4 years after Train to Busan, and it's called Peninsula. Well, the trailer for it just released recently, and it is going to get a U.S. release. I think it's getting released in Europe as well. I think it's already out in Asia, I want to say, or I don't know for sure. And it looks bonkers, absolutely bonkers. There are zombies running around fucking everywhere. And these are the World War Z type of zombies where they're just kind of rolling together and, like a wave kind of. It's fucking. This one's actually much more frightening than World War Z. World War Z was just kind of like meh, but this one's actually really good. This one looks fun. And yeah, all the Z properties give you the Z's, Stanley Tweedle. Try and take a look at Train to Busan. It's worth your time. It really is. It's a good movie, and it's got a good heart to it too, shall we say? Even though that heart has been plucked out of the chest while it's still beating and held up so you can watch it as it stops. Was that a little too dark for a Saturday morning, or I don't know? I've kind of lost perspective at this point. Kalima, Kalima. Exactly. Cover your heart, Indy. Well, let's never do that again. There was a leaked photo from the Falcon and Winter Soldier set that shows an extra wearing a leather biker jacket with an emblem on the back that looks suspiciously like the symbol of the character Ogun. Now, if you're wondering who Ogun is a character from Madripoor who has been seen multiple times in multiple Wolverine stories. And he is a warlord of Madripoor. Excuse me. And if that's the case, uh, the Falcon and Winter Soldier might be introducing mutants to their whole repertoire of things, which means this would be bringing mutants into the MCU in a certain way. Um, I've seen the photo. It's actually up on my Facebook page if you want to take a look at it. It's up there. Um, it does look a lot like Ogun, the Ogun patch that I've seen in comics. And if this is the way they're going to bring it in, I'm all for it, quite honestly, because they need to bring mutants in. They really do need to bring the mutants in. They need to bring in Fantastic Four. Um, they just need to bring the whole family home. Quite honestly, at some point, they need to get Spider-Man back into the fold as well. Yes, I know Spider-Man is technically in the MCU, but he's on loan from Sony because Sony, owns Spider-Man, and they've got a fucking death grip on it, and are not going to let go of that, unfortunately. But there you have it. Mutants in the MCU. And hopefully that's actually going to be the case. And speaking of mutants, since James Mangold and Wolverine, I should say for that matter, see how I segue this? James Mangold, who of course did, Logan, the very depressing Logan, but very good Logan. He is now writing the script for Indiana Jones 5. Why? Because he's directing it, which means that Harrison Ford should be about 90 years old by the time they actually start filming this thing. Harrison Ford is in his 80s right now, just to give you any kind of reference on that one. And I honestly think that Harrison Ford's too old to be playing this character now. Unless you're going to do old Indy where he just kind of sits in his rocking chair and tells you stories about what happened in the past. And then they have someone else play Indiana Jones, like a younger version of Indiana Jones going on an adventure. Oh, you mean kind of like the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles? Yeah, that would be the thing right there. Considering that Harrison Ford now is the right age to play that, old Indy. That's what they should be doing. They should just revive the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles and have Harrison Ford just leading the intro, going, "I remember back when racism was still rampant throughout the country, much like it is today." Oh, yeah. But yeah. Uh you don't want any new indie senior movies? I don't either. I really don't. Uh yeah. I don't know, unless he's gonna be doing wheelchair races or, walker races, that kind of thing. And I'm talking about using a walker, kind of thing. Uh they're gonna be doing some cane swashbuckling with, breaks in between for oxygen masks. Bubba Hotep style, exactly. Bubba Hotep style. I think that would work. Oh man. So Star Wars Celebration was supposed to be happening next month, I believe is what it is. No, this month. That's right. But that's been canceled because we're in a pandemic still. Yes, if you forgot, we are still in a pandemic. So don't go around acting like you're not in a pandemic. We are still in a pandemic. Star Wars Celebration has been canceled until 2022. Why 2022? I don't know for sure. That was why they said. I thought it was just going to be until next year, but no, they're waiting until 2022 on this one, and it could be that they're going to renovate the convention hall too in Anaheim, which would be a good thing to do. That convention hall has seen better days and just needs to be razed to the ground and rebuilt. That could be the reason why. I don't know. Uh, yeah, why they're holding out till that long, but hey, more power to them at this point. Maybe they know something that we don't know. Maybe Disney has access to a time machine, which I'm fairly sure they do, and they realize that the vaccine isn't coming out until 2022. So there you go. And also, speaking of, well, actually, I'm gonna leave that for the last one. I'll leave that for the last one. It's a good one. So I'll leave that little tidbit for you to look forward to. Malin Ackerman. Speaking of Watchmen, there, Philip. Malin Ackerman is set to write, produce, and star in a horror movie called With Teeth, and it's about a group of people that are invited to a reclusive billionaire's home, and the billionaire turns out to be a very vicious vampire, and their only way out is by following a famous online gamer and an old reluctant vampire hunter. Sound kind of familiar? It sounds kind of like Fright Night in a way, but a little bit different. Yeah. Oh, come on. I tease everybody. And it's well worth it, quite honestly. I mean, come on. If you admit to liking Watchmen, it's open season on that one. It does. I mean, come on. I was in the theater when I saw Watchmen and that whole the sex scene. People were howling with laughter. People were absolutely howling with laughter. It was not taken seriously. People were laughing at inopportune moments. It was one of those things that it was not taken seriously at all. That movie. No, I'm talking about the sex scene on board the ship. You know, where they're hitting the control panels and like fire is shooting out. You know, and all that kind of stuff. And it was supposed to be kind of what is it? Their sexy moment, if you will. The scene inside the you know, when they're at his house, that was the awkward moment. That was supposed to be the awkward moment, yes. But the one on board the ship, you know, people were just fucking laughing. And yeah, it was. I'm a fan of the comic, okay, and yeah, there's some stuff that I'll give this much to I'll give credit to Damon Lindelof on the Watchmen series that he reinstated the original ending to the comic within the series. That's it. That's all I'll give him on that. The rest of the series, I'm not okay with. Basically taking the Watchmen and melding it with another series that he wanted to do. That was what the whole thing was. Yeah. Not the message of the series. So, if anyone's wondering on that one. Yeah. Yeah, I think I got the comic someplace around here. I've got a I've actually got a copy of a Dave copy signed by Gibbons. Gibbons. Here it is. Dun dun dun. Yeah. And this one is signed by Dave Gibbons right there. Just happens to be within reach. Would you have actually liked a Kraken? But yeah, I would have. That was what was supposed to happen. There's a reason for that. Yeah. I mean, the whole thing with it's still blaming Dr. Manhattan. And yeah, it just yeah. Yes, it is ridiculous. But again, that whole movie that he did, that Snyder did was ridiculous to begin with. So why not just push the envelope a little further and go with the giant Kraken? Or at least the Kraken cut. Why isn't there any hashtags about that? Release the Kraken cut. No, it's not the best Snyder movie, Stanley Tweedle. Actually, 300 is still the best Snyder movie. I hate to say this, but it is. It is his best movie. Everything else is just kind of 300 is his best movie. So Max Brooks has a Bigfoot book out there called Devolution, and it's gotten picked up by Legendary Pictures to be made into a movie. Hopefully, this movie actually gets treated a lot better. The source material gets treated better than World War Z was. So World War Z was a great book. I mean, a fantastic book. And it would have made a great HBO series. It would have played out so much better as a series than that shitty Brad Pitt movie that it became. Um, oof, that's yeah, that was just horrible. Did I like Sucker Punch? Hell no. Sucker Punch is like the worst movie ever made, and I saw that in a sneak preview. I got passes for it, and I remember I was sitting there going, "What the fu" I mean, everyone was walking out was laughing at how bad it was. I mean, yeah, that is Zack Snyder's is that his worst movie? I'll go yeah, I'll say Sucker Punch is his worst movie. So, yeah, it really is. I heard the World War Z movie was very yeah, so the World War Z movie was completely different. So, the book actually has the Romero zombies, slow plotting, all that kinda stuff. Uh, for some reason, the movie changed it out to these tidal wave of zombies where they kind of glom together like ants in a way, and they kind of roll down the street as a gigantic wave. Um, and they can build on top of each so there's a helicopter taking off, and they literally kind of build on top of each other like ants to make a ladder to get to the helicopter. I shit you not on this. And it doesn't make sense. So the book is actually series of it's a 10th anniversary of defeating the zombie uh apocalypse, I guess you could say, and what happened. And there's pockets of stories that are going someone's chronicling all of this. And that is never taken into effect in this movie whatsoever. It follows one dude who's in I think an epidemiologist trying to stop this from happening. And i- yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. It's really bad. Yeah. Um definitely read World War Z if you haven't read it. It's a really good read, and it's a good book. It's a really good book. Yeah. But yeah, I am looking forward to Bigfoot. I want to read that. Max Brooks is a talented writer. He is a very talented writer, and I want to see what his take is on Bigfoot. So, it's kind of like Steve Niles. Steve Niles, he did 30 Days of Night, which is another iconic vampire movie. Um, he took on has he done a zombie story? No, he hasn't done a zombie story, but he did he's been working in comics quite a bit. So he did the Cal McDonald series about a cop who ends up becoming a private investigator for the supernatural. But he's like a pill popping PI. And the reason why he's a drug addict and alcoholic and everything like that is because he can barely stand what the fuck he's seeing, what he knows about the supernatural. So yeah, that's his coping mechanism. But there's also a Bigfoot story that Steve Niles did, which is really good and very violent too. And I'm wondering if that'll ever get made into a movie. I doubt it. I mean, it's pretty bad. I mean, it's pretty I mean, horrific in a way. I mean, not bad. Uh, and that I want to see if we're gonna get into a Bigfoot trend. I'm seeing a Bigfoot trend happening right now in some uh, in media, and I want to see how that's gonna happen if we're actually gonna get a Bigfoot trend or not. And if it does, I hope Steve Niles gets his Bigfoot movie or Bigfoot comic made into a movie because it needs to be. It'll be a really good horror movie. I mean, it would be an excellent horror movie. And considering that we are in a pandemic and you can't really shoot with a lot of people anymore, that would be fantastic out in the wilderness. You don't have a lot of people, and yeah, more frightening than you know all get out at this point. So the final thing I've got here is on Saturday, August 22nd at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. DC Fandom will start. Now, what is DC Fandom? It's a 24-hour online event talking about all DC content. So basically your TV, your movies, comics, whatever, with celebrity guests. And it's going to be going on for 24 hours online. It's free, and people are going to be able to log in. This thing, of course, in lieu of Comic-Con. Comic-Con is going online this year, next month. WonderCon already did this, and I didn't log into it. The last thing I want to do is log in to you know a computer to um watch other people talk about their what's coming for like a convention, like having an online convention. That's the last thing I want to do is log into an online convention, shall I say. Not that I'm trying to talk about YouTube or anything like that. So yeah. Forest thing. You mean like Forrest Gump? Life is like a box of chocolates. Run, Jenny. No, wait, that's Run Forest. Yeah, Jenny. Haven't read any of them. Oh, that's right. You already talked about that. So DC fandom. So DC has been kind of breaking away from, I guess you could say, not mainstream stuff, I should say. They are trying to break away from the status quo. So they have broken away and done their own publishing, which Marvel did back in the 90s and destroyed part of the comic book industry as a result. So we'll see how this goes to if DC is going to destroy part of the comic book industry as well. And now, of course, they're moving away from the convention industry using this DC fandom. And they've already been talking about this, that they weren't going to show up at Comic Con some years and, or WonderCon or anything like that and do their own event. And yeah, I know Star Wars has done the same thing. Disney has, they have their D23 that happens. And D23 gets a decent amount of people, but at the same time, it's not Comic Con. Hell, even New York City Comic Con is not Comic Con. San Diego Comic Con, I should say. So, yeah, WonderCon is not Comic Con, even though they're owned by the same people. Yeah. More power to them if they can pull this thing off, but I might log in and take a look and see what they have. If they have a schedule up so I can pick and choose what I want to take a look at, because quite honestly, I don't want to sit there and, talk about, you know, trying to think of something offhand, Little Gotham or something like that. I really don't want to watch that. I don't care. So, San Diego elitist. No, I'm not. I wasn't getting in this year. I didn't have tickets for this year at all. I didn't get in as you know, as an attendee or as press. So I was going to be on the outside this year on that one. And no, I did not release the virus as a result of this. That was not my intention. So, what else do I have going on this week? Tomorrow I'm off. Monday is Stargirl. Tuesday is another episode of Is It Worth My Time? I haven't figured out what I'm doing as of yet. I'm not doing Dark. I know people have been asking me about Dark on Netflix. I've tried watching Dark. It just doesn't do anything for me. And also it's too far in. It's got 3 seasons on it. I think they're doing their final season. Is that right? And it honestly just it doesn't interest me. So I'm not able to get into it. I'll pick something at some point in time here and let you guys know when I put it up on the schedule. I'll find something by Monday. Let's just say that. Wednesday, I'm going to be off. Thursday is going to be the return of Doom Patrol. Season 2 of Doom Patrol is coming back on. Friday, of course, is Harley Quinn. And then we roll everything back around again to Saturday morning blast off. And by the way, Friday's Harley Quinn is the season finale of Harley Quinn. Hopefully, DC Universe has something up their sleeve because right now I'm not seeing anything posted as to what they're going to be having next. Hopefully, that's something good. Well, there you have it. How about you guys? What are you guys doing now that I know that we're dwindling on new stuff that's coming out and new stuff to watch. Are you going back and watching other things, rewatching other things, replaying old games, all that kind of stuff? What's going on with you guys? Stanley says, I was just trying to give you ideas for new subscribers. Yes, I know, Stanley. I've tried Dark. Trust me, I've tried a couple of times and it's just not doing it. I can't stay awake doing it. Let's just say that, Stanley. Okay. I've tried it all kinds of different times during the day. You will watch Doom Patrol and Dark next. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna rewatch the first season of Doom Patrol again. I haven't done that in a while, so and it's a fun trip. So I'm definitely gonna do that. Um, I started getting into. I was looking at Netflix last night to see what was on, and I kind of got into a little bit of Marco Polo, which I know is an older series. It's a couple of years old. I want to say like 5 years old, something like that. But there's some really good martial arts in it, and yeah, it deals with Kublai Khan and that. So I'm interested in seeing how that's. I saw a small. They had a half-hour introduction of one of the characters. 100 Eyes is his name, and it was kind of an interesting half hour. So I was like, all right, I can check it out. It's a live action series. Yes, Stanley Tweedle. Yeah. Um, Philip A. Demick says, I binged Ascendance of a Bookworm for the third time today. Final episode of season 2 comes out today. What's that on, Philip? Ascendance of a Bookworm. Is that something that's overseas or is it here in the US as well? Because I haven't heard of that one. That's an interesting title. What's going on there? So while you're answering, I'm gonna on Crunchyroll. Oh, okay. A Nemesis on Crunchyroll. Okay. I don't know if I've got access to that. I'd have to take a look. Yeah, I've also been looking at Pluto TV. So Pluto TV, of course, has all the tokusatsu, which is Kamen Rider and Ultraman Leo, and then also they've got other items as well. With they have a whole Star Trek channel that's on there. So CBS All Access, I guess, has been throwing out different episodes of Picard and Star Trek Discovery and stuff like that. So you don't have to pay for it, but they're all out of order, which I don't really care because it doesn't make any sense anyway to watch those things. Was that Benedict Wong and Marco Polo? Yes, Stanley Tweedle. Benedict Wong plays Kublai Khan. Yes. Uh, Is that a dwarf TV station now? You're talking about Pluto TV? Yeah, funny. Yeah, it's actually free, Pluto TV. So, oh, anime on Crunchyroll. Okay, I know what Crunchyroll is. Yes, I do have access to Crunchyroll. Okay. Uh, it's not genre, but I've been watching Father Ted. Okay. Well, I watch other stuff too that's not genre. I mean, yeah. I probably should catch up on this last, the final season of Agents of Shield and see how it's going to end. I mean, just to be the completist that I am. I watched the first 2 episodes and I was like, it's not really doing much for me. So, but then again, the first season was good of Agents of Shield, and then it just kind of went downhill from there when it divorced itself from the movies. Yeah, Agents is better than you think, is what's the yeah, yeah, yeah. Says the guy who likes, Watchmen, the movie. I'm sorry, Stanley. That's just gonna be that's gonna be our joke now. It really is. It really is gonna be our joke now. Ah. So if you too like to be belittled on the air, come on in and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe here. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the very end here of this video. You're going to see a video pop up here. And if you like what you see there, hit the subscribe button down there. And if you want to be on live again next, hit the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing you can do is go to suspendedfanimation.com and check out my schedule that's there. Also, all my links to social media are there as well. So Twitter, Instagram, and Patreon. No tier separate on the Patreon as of yet. And also, I have my links to, of course, YouTube, what you're watching now, and my Facebook page and my Facebook group page, which you guys can post stuff on and talk amongst yourselves. Says the guy who finds dark boring. I've tried, man. I've tried. I've tried multiple times. I know a lot of people who say dark is good, and I just can't get into it. I really can't. So, and on that note, have you tried? Yes, I've tried it dubbed. I've tried it with, I've tried it multiple different ways. Have I tried it in a box? Have I tried it with a fox? Have I tried it in a bed? Have I tried it with in a shed? Um, it's my green eggs and ham. Sorry. Philip Demick says Shield, The 100, Blind Spot, Supernatural, and Penny Dreadful are all shows I gave shows you gave up on, huh? Really? So Supernatural, the first 5 episodes are the best. They actually complete the Eric Kripke what he wanted to do. Penny Dreadful, I'm there with you. I couldn't finish the first season for some reason. The 100, good God, no. Blind Spot, I'm there with you as well. Blind Spot was just bad. And Shield, I know what you're talking about, the Shield. Just never got into it. Never really did. Yeah. Shame about Penny Dreadful. Yeah. I did see the first 2 episodes of this new one that's out there, and meh, nah, meh is what I can say. I'm just glad I don't have Showtime. Oh, you meant Agents of Shield. Okay, there you go. Yeah, Agents of Shield. I'm with you on that one too. I watch Agents of Shield kind of as background noise when it's on, because a lot of it is filler. It really is. They don't write it. It's not the best of writers on the show. Let's just say that. Yeah. The new one is garbage to the first one. And Penny Dreadful, yeah. Yeah, the new one is garbage. I agree with you, Stanley. It's pretty bad. Showtime is struggling right now. They're trying to find something that is going to bring in viewers, and yeah, I'm not seeing it. I'm kind of waiting for HBO Max to step up and actually start offering Cinemax stuff like Banshee, Warrior. There's other stuff that Cinemax has on there too. And I'm not talking about the After Dark stuff either, the Skinemax. But there was some good stuff that was on Cinemax that they could bring into HBO Max to fill their library of stuff. They own the fucking thing, for God's sakes. Fill it up, you know? Yeah. I have no desire to see Perry Mason on HBO, Stanley. Sorry. I watched the original Raymond Burr shit back in the 70s and 80s when it was on reruns. And I even have the theme song right now going through my head that I'm just not a fan of it. Yeah. I want nothing to do with Perry Mason. Philip A. Demick says Banshee was so damn good. Yes, it was. Banshee was really damn good. Uh Hoon Lee, who's in that, who's also in Warrior. That's how I found him as an actor, was through Banshee. And I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And why isn't he in more things? And yeah, he's awesome. He's also awesome in Warrior as well. And yes, I want to see him in more. I actually follow him on Twitter. He hasn't tweeted in a while, but yeah, uh, good stuff. Uh, that bored me to tears. I didn't care for anyone. Are you talking about Perry Mason? Yeah. Philip A. Deming says it's really weird watching Anthony Starr and Banshee and the boys. Yeah. It took me a while to actually kind of make me believe that they were the same person, quite honestly, because he does such a different acting job in Banshee that he does in The Boys. And he different way he holds himself, different demeanor. He's like a completely different person. And of course, he also looks different too because he has more hair and it's blonde, of course, in The Boys. Um, so yeah, he's a he's a great actor as well. So Anthony Starr is an awesome actor, and I can't wait for him to start doing movies and things like that too. Start showing the world out there what kind of actor he is. And same thing, like I said with Hoon Lee. I want Hoon Lee to come back in and start doing movies and as well as more TV. Just good actors. I mean, and there's good writing in Banshee as well. Banshee was a good show. Um, it was concise. It didn't waste anything, and it was complex, and it was just flat out violent as all hell too. And there was a lot of nudity and sex in it too, which didn't hurt it at all. There you go. Yeah. All right. And on that note of sex and violence, I'm gonna let you guys go. Thanks everybody who joined me tonight in the today in the chat. Mainly Stanley, Philip, and there was one other person that was in there too. Keith. There we go. Keith Hamilton. Thanks everybody who joined me today in the chat. Thank you if you made it this far in the video. And remember, if you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops at the very end here. If you like what you see there, hit the subscribe button. Up here is going to be Harley Quinn, is what's going to be up there for you. I will see you again on Monday for Stargirl. So until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may end up in a Regal movie theater without a mask, sitting next to someone who's coughing their fucking brains out because, you know, it's become politicized that way. Wear your fucking mask, people, when you're outdoors. See ya. Have a good day, and I will see you on Monday. Thanks, everyone.